Hello, it's time to start planning for August monthly budget already.
Hi, I'm Megan with Bethel Budgets. I'm here because it's more than just math. At some point, you've probably built a budget. You've laid out your income, you've laid out your expenses, and thought it's simple math. I'll just stick to what's on the paper. But then life happened and your budget didn't work out. The reason? Because it's more than just math. That's where I come in. Let's figure this out together. Don't give up. You've got this.
Every month I like to make a video with some quick tips and things that I don't want you to forget to think about when you're building your monthly budget for August. And I start with some things that you should always do, some things that are month specific, and some things that I need you to do to plan ahead for future months. So let's get started. Something you should always do before you sit down to build your monthly budget is to do a calendar check. This includes having a conversation with your spouse or whoever your budget team is, whoever you share your budget with. You need to check your calendar for birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, any event that you are scheduled to go to that is going to cost you money, and make sure you put that in your budget. You might have a line item for events. You might have to put something extra into your dining out category. Whatever it's going to cost you, or your gift category, whatever it's going to cost you, make sure you plan ahead for that budget. Next are some things that are monthly specific. So we are heading into August. There are no super specific holidays for August, but right at the beginning of September is Labor Day. So that is something that would fall into a lot of August budgets. So Labor Day isn't a super celebrated holiday. There aren't a lot of events or carnivals or, there's no fireworks or anything like that, but it is a long weekend. So do you travel? If you travel, do you go out? Where do you go? What do you do for Labor Day? Make sure you include that in your monthly budget for August, because it's the second of the month for September. So a lot of times that is going to come out of your August budget. So plan accordingly. The biggest expense for August is back to school. Now I have a bunch of things I'm going to talk about with back to school. First is checkups and physicals. I talked a little bit about this in July. A lot of times there are certain grade levels that you have to have a physical or vaccinations to get into and get done before school starts. So you need to make sure what grade your kid is going into, depending on what state you're in, what vaccinations they may need to have. If they're doing a sport, they need a physical. Don't wait until the last minute to get those things scheduled. Schedule them now. Get that done. If you have to pay a copay for that, make sure that's included in your August budget. The second thing is lunch money. That is now a monthly budget item for August. School is starting. If they buy school lunches, that is something that you need to remember to put back into your August monthly budget. So lunch money is now a line item again. If you took the summer off from lunch money as a category, it's back. The third thing is tuition payments. If your kids go to a private school, or if you're having to pay daycare or before or after school care, those tuition payments, those are going to be part of your monthly budget now for August. So make sure that you remember to put that into your category line item. Don't get halfway through August and that bill comes out and you're like, oh man, I forgot. So this is your warning right now ahead of time to put that in your monthly budget for August. So you've got your tuition payments or your childcare payments, whatever those payments are for you, make sure you put them in your August budget. The next is activity fees. As school starts and back to school events happen, I know you go to open house and they're like, here's your party fee, here's your technology fee, your yearbook fee, your parking fee if you have high schoolers that are maybe need a parking pass or something, or for college you need a parking pass, sports fees, activity fees, all those different fees. Also, track those expenses, how much they cost and when they're due, and think about creating that a sinking fund for next year so that you don't have to really include that so much in your August budget. But for now, put that in your August budget, track those expenses, and create a sinking fund for next year. Sometimes you also have to pay your field trip fees, even though their field trip may not be till the spring. Sometimes you have to pay for that now. So plan accordingly. Or if you think about it, while you're at open house, ask, when are the field trips and about how much do they cost, so that when you get home, you can create a sinking fund for that March field trip that you know is coming and about how much it costs. Another big one, this is the one that nobody really tends to forget in the month of August, but I'm gonna say it anyway, school supplies. I already bought my school supplies in July. There was a huge sale, so I bought most of my school supplies. But if you have not bought your school supplies yet, that needs to go into your August monthly budget. Also, track your expenses for that for this August. Build a sinking fund for that for next August, and try to do your school supply shopping ahead of time. Look for those sales in July. Look for those sales all school year long. If you have a sinking fund, it's not such a big deal to buy those outside of August and get those on sale and put them away for the school year to start. But also having that money set aside, it doesn't take such a hit from your August budget. The last thing to do with going back to school is clothes and shoes. I have a sinking fund for that as well. I want you to track your expenses for your back to school clothes and shoes. Everybody needs a new pair of shoes at the beginning of the year. Clothes isn't something that I've always bought back to school clothes necessarily, but back to school shoes, each of my kids get a new pair. So track your expenses for those and build a sinking fund for next year. I know I'm gonna spend about $400 on shoes in August for my kids to go back to school. I have 4 kids, and a long time ago we did away with buying the cheap shoes because they just wore out of them so fast. So now we buy a good pair of tennis shoes right at the beginning of the school year, and it lasts almost all the way through, depending on how rough they are on them or how quickly they grow. But track those expenses and build a sinking fund for that. Other tips for clothing is to buy those at the end of the season or go to thrift stores. You don't have to do the back to school clothing shopping necessarily in August. There are ways around that. If your August is already taking a huge back to school hit, save up on the clothes. You don't have to do that right now. Do that slowly as you go along. Do that at other times of the year. There are ways around that, but that is definitely a back to school expense for August that you should plan for and that you should track for next year's sinking fund, or that you can build that sinking fund and then use that throughout the year. Sort of related, but not necessarily just a back to school item. Your gasoline prices are going to go up for August, so make sure that you are planning that for your August monthly budget. Whether you are back to work now because your kids are back to school, or maybe you're a teacher and you're going to be increasing your driving, or if you're a mom that's driving your kids back and forth to school, your traveling is going up. So your gasoline line item is gonna go up. So you need to plan accordingly for your August budget. So make sure you put a little extra in that gasoline budget line item for August so that you don't get hit with that. And then increased utility bills. We talked about this in July, but August is just as hot. So you need to plan ahead for your utility bills. If you are not on budget billing, this could really hit you in August with the increased heat. So you have your air conditioning is going to be used more, and maybe your water usage is going to go up. So try to watch what time of day you're using your air conditioning most. Turn it up or down depending on time of day, when you're home, when you're not, when do you really need it to be cool. Watch the temperature it's set at. And also the water usage. I know we talked about that in July, but it's still a thing for August. Get yourself on budget billing so that that number is the same every single month, and it's way easier to budget for. I know that every single month I'm going to pay this much in my utilities because I'm on budget billing. And then it's based on the previous year's usage, so it might go up or down a little bit based on your usage, but then you just have to worry about that once a year. You'll get a prorated amount, or your bill will go up a little bit for the next 12 months. The last thing I like to talk about in these monthly budget tip videos are things that are coming soon. We did talk about this in July, but we're coming up on the fall wedding season. Just like there was a spring wedding season, there is a fall wedding season. So you need to be prepared for wedding showers, engagement parties, bachelorette parties, bachelor parties, and the weddings. All of these things have outings involved, gifts involved, maybe travel as well. So you need to plan ahead for that. What of that needs to come out of your August budget, and what do you just need to start thinking ahead for this fall wedding season? And the next thing are big, more than just math moments. So these are big things that are coming up that you need to plan ahead for. So last month we talked about Christmas and personal property tax. Those are huge things that are coming up in December. Big sinking funds that I need you to start thinking about. Calculate about how much you spend in December on Christmas presents and divide that in half over the next couple of months. Make sure you're putting that much aside. Start thinking about what gifts you can give that are homemade. But then I realized that I left off Halloween. That is, for some people, just as big of a holiday as Christmas. People go wild for Halloween. Some of our people in our neighborhood, they just decorate for Halloween like crazy. And people really do spend just as much on Halloween as Christmas. And I realized I left that one off. So that could be a big sinking fund for you as well. And that's even closer than Christmas. So in order to prevent these more than just math moments where you get to these huge expenses and you're not prepared and you risk going into debt for, because you're going to spend this money whether you're ready or not, then I need you to start thinking about them now. You've got a couple months till Halloween, you've got 5 months till Christmas and personal property tax time. Figure out your expenses. Figure out how much you need to put aside per month and start getting ready for those. Don't be stuck with a more than just math moment. So you know these holidays are coming. Start preparing for them now. Don't let them take you off guard and put you into debt or a more than just math situation where you're in an argument with your spouse or something over these expenses. So make sure you sit down and work on your August monthly budget and look at your calendar first. Think about all of these things that we talked about today and plan ahead for your future. Good luck with your August budget. Keep going. You've got this.